So hello and welcome. In this tutorial I would like to show you some basics of JavaScript in Adobe Animate. So right now I am in the version Adobe Animate CC 2021, but this should be pretty much the same if you are in the older version or even if you are in the newer version. So very first thing that I want to do is go ahead and create some kind of shapes. So I will go to the oval tool and I'm going to choose some color. I will get rid of the stroke and I'm going to create a shape like this. Now I want to convert this shape to the symbol. So I will click on the shape. I will go to the modify and I'm going to choose convert to symbol. Make sure that it is movie clip and I can call this to be blue shape, for example, and I will hit OK. By converting this to the symbol, I am going to be able to animate this, or I am going to be able to target this with the JavaScript. So if I click on the shape, you can see in here that it is movie clip, and there is an option to choose an instance name, and this is the name by which we are going to be targeting this in the JavaScript. So if you ever worked with HTML or CSS, in HTML is something called classes and ID, and this is like an ID. And if you didn't work with the HTML and CSS, it doesn't matter. This is just name that we will use to target this. So I'm going to just call this to be blue1, and I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to hold Alt and drag it like so, and this one I'm going to call to be blue2. And if you go to the library, in here you have the blue shape. It is the name that we created, but this name has nothing to do with the JavaScript. It was just name for the library. So this name and this name is what is important. Right now what I want to do is double click on my layer to rename this, and I'm just going to call these shapes. I will create a new layer by clicking this plus sign, and I will double click and I'm going to call this to be code. What I want to do right now is right click on the first frame of the layer code, and I would like to choose actions, or you can see the shortcut is F9, and it is going to open me a text editor like this, and in here we can write our JavaScript. Okay, before I will do that, I am going to hit Ctrl Enter, and this is going to open me this in the browser, and you can see that both of these shapes are right now visible. And one thing that I did is I changed the color of the background, this color, so it is not going to be white. So if I hit Ctrl Enter, I can see borders of my canvas. That's just one thing that I like to do. So right now I can start to type the code. So I can type this, which refers to the Adobe Animate object. I am going to hit dot. Then I can type blue1, for example, because this is the name that we created. I can go with blue2 if I want, but I am going to go with blue1. And now I can type something like visible, and I can set that it is equal to false. Okay. And the semicolon at the end, it's optional. So in many other programming languages, you have to use semicolon. With JavaScript, you do not need to. But it's a good practice to use it, but as I said, it's optional. So if I didn't misspell anything, and I will hit Ctrl Enter, right now the first shape is not going to be visible. What I can do is copy this, Ctrl C, go in here, Ctrl V, and I can change that I want blue2 also to be false, and I will hit Ctrl Enter, and right now both of them are invisible. Okay. In JavaScript, there is an option to create some kind of comment. Comment means that you can type something in your code, for example, some information about what you are doing with the code for yourself, and it is not going to be read by JavaScript. So that's just for you. And you can do that by just clicking // and then you can type like this is intro to JS or whatever. Okay, and so you can create something like this for yourself, or if you have some code that you do not want to use right now, but maybe you want to use later, or you are creating tutorial like this and you want to later on provide the code, what you can do is type // and then type // and this means that this code is commented out and it's not going to, it's like there is nothing in there. So if I hit Control Enter, they are both going to be visible. What I can do right now is I'm going to copy this, Control C. You can type this to just make the practice, but I will just copy this blue one. I will delete this visible part and I'm going to type alpha. And alpha means opacity or transparency. And right now we can set this alpha from 0 to 1. And 0 is 0%, 1 is going to be 100%, and for example 0.5 is going to be 50%. So right now if I hit Control Enter, this is going to be 50% transparent. You can put it to 0.1 and it is going to be even more transparent. Okay. Now what we can do is create some kind of event listener, which means that I want this change, for example, to get rid of the visibility or to change opacity when I click on the shape. Okay, so let me again comment this one out. So if I hit Control Enter, everything is going to be as it was at the beginning. And if you want to create event listener, you can type something like this. So this blue one, and then add the capital E event and capital L listener. So something like this, and then parentheses, and in the parentheses with the quotation marks we are going to choose what kind of event we want to have, because there is click, double click, mouse over, mouse out, and so on. So I am going to type that I want to have click, then comma, and then in here we have two ways. I'm going to show you the first one, and it is you can type the name of the function, for example height shapes. This is just arbitrary name that we created, and then you will create the function which is going to contain some information, and the function is going to be called when we click on the shape. Okay, so I will create the function and then I will explain this one more time. So I'm going to type function. When you want to create function, you will always start with the function, then name of the function. I am going to copy this from here. So function height shapes. Then we have to create parentheses, and then we want to create the body of the function. So curly parentheses, enter. It should create this automatically. And right now we have the body of the function, and we can type in here anything. So I can, for example, copy this, Control C, go in here, Control V, and with the tabulator I am going to put it on the same place. I will get rid of the comments, and this is not going to be working yet because there is one additional thing that we will have to do, but I just want to go one more time about this. So this line of code basically means that if I click on the blue one, which is this one, the height shapes function is going to be called. And then we have the height shapes function, and there is some kind of code in here. The issue right now is that, and I do not want to confuse you, but when you are outside of the function, you are using this, which refers to the animate object. But if you are inside of the function, you cannot use this. But what you need to do, and I will do this at the beginning, like so. I'm going to create a variable. So you can type var or let. The var is older version of creating variables. The let is newer version. So I'm going to be using let. There is some kind of difference in there, but that's much more advanced. So don't worry about this. So let, and right now some arbitrary name. So I can go with this one, or I can type this or whatever, but I can go with something like root is equal to this. And when I'm outside of the function, I'm going to be using this. And when I'm inside of the function, I'm going to be using my variable. So it is going to be root. Okay. And right now, if we did everything correctly, and I can see right now that I misspelled the shapes. So I'm going to change this to shapes, but I will have to do the same thing in here. Shapes, and I will hit Ctrl Enter. If I click on the shape, both of them are going to disappear. Okay, and I want to show you that if I'm going to comment out this variable, so I'm going to hit // right now I'm going to have error because it is going to say me that the root is not defined. So I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, and I'm going to click, and nothing is going to happen. And if you are in the browser, what you can do is right click and choose Inspect. And depending on the browser, this can be a little bit different, but you can do something like this, and you can go to the console. And in the console is place where you are going to have errors. And in here I have that root is not defined. If I'm going to refresh this, at the beginning I'm not going to have any error because so far there is no issue, but when I click, it will try to call the function, but there is an issue because root is not defined. So if I uncomment this, and I will hit Ctrl Enter, and I will right click and choose Inspect, and I will go to the console and I will click, it will work, and there is not going to be any error. So if you have some issue, there is possibility that it is going to be in the console, and in the console maybe you will find out what is the issue. Okay. There is one way how to create this event listener and then the function, and there is another way. Okay, so let me comment this out, this whole code, and I showed you before that you can comment code by //. But if you want to comment multiple lines at the same time, what you can do is create a slash and asterisk, like so, and then close this with asterisk and slash. So anything in between of this is going to be commented out. Okay, and I will go in here and I will borrow this code. So I'm going to hit Ctrl C and Ctrl V. If you want, you can type this one more time. And now we are going to create this little bit differently. So I'm going to get rid of this, and you can have as much space in here as you want. This is not going to do anything, and the same go with this. So the space in here doesn't really matter. And in here we have this event listener, and then we have name of the function which was called when we clicked on the shape. But there is other way, and you can create something which is called anonymous function, and you just type in here function. You do not need to write the name of the function. you just write parentheses as in here. So here we had function, name of the function and parentheses. Here you just type function and parentheses, then curly parentheses. And by hitting enter, it should automatically create parentheses, this one for you. So just don't get confused. This parenthesis is the pair with this one, and this one is with this one, okay? And in here, we can copy this, Control C, Control V. I can change this from visibility to alpha, for example. So alpha is going to be 0.5, and I can do the same thing for this one, like this. So alpha is going to be 0.5, Control S, and I'm going to hit Control Enter. And if I didn't misspell anything, I will click, and the alpha is going to decrease. So there are these two ways. One of the way is do it like this, to call the function and create the function, or you can create the anonymous function. Again, I'm going to comment this out. So like this, slash and asterisk, and like so, and we can continue. And I'm going to provide you probably a whole animate file that I create in the description, so you can, if you are going to have some issue, you can check my code. Okay, so right now we don't have anything in here. We have only this let root is equal to this, but if I hit Control Enter, we are not going to have anything. If I go to the inspect element and to the console, okay, I will refresh. That wasn't really error, it was just some stupid thing. But if you just click, nothing is going to happen because we don't have any code. And what I want to show you right now is that if you have just function, like so, so I have function height shapes, and I have said that blue is not going to be visible and blue 2 is not going to be visible. If I hit Control Enter, nothing is going to happen. And if I click, also nothing is going to happen because we don't have any event listener right now. So functions by themselves don't do anything. If you want to do anything, you will have to call the function. And one of the ways how to call the function is to create event listener. There is another way how you can call the function, and it's like you can declare the function like so, and then just type the name of the function, so height shape and parentheses. So this is going to call the function. So I will hit Control Enter. Okay, and it didn't work, and it's because my function is height shapes, and I called the height shape. So if I go to the in here, there is nothing happened, and if I go to the console, I'm going to have an error because height shape is not defined. So that's why it's maybe sometimes good to just copy this and paste this, but you can just type shapes like so, and now it is going to be working and it has disappeared. Okay, so I just wanted to show you something like this. Again, I'm going to comment this out like so, and I could get rid of some of these parts and I could comment this all at once, but I just want for you to see the sections, like this was one part, this is another part, and so on. And right now I want to show you one more thing. Okay, let me again copy all of this part like so. So I have just copied the event listener, this blue one, add event listener, click height shapes, and then we have this function height shapes, and we have this inside. So if I hit Control Enter, they are going to disappear when I click on them. Okay, and right now I am going to temporarily comment this variable. So comment // So right now we are going to get error because root is not defined. So if I click, nothing is going to happen and we are going to have error. Okay, I will go back and I want to show you, also maybe I didn't show you before, that if I try to create this like so, so I'm avoiding this, that outside I'm using this, but I am trying to use this inside, and I will hit Ctrl Enter. I am again going to have an error because it's like property visible of undefined because it didn't find this. But there is a way how you can use this inside of the function. And this is a little bit more advanced, but I just want to show you because there is something in here which is called code snippets, and there are some pre-made codes that you can use, and there is sometimes in these pre-made codes something like this. So I just want to show you that you will understand. So you can create even listener like this. You have click, you have name of the function, and after the name of the function, you will just click dot, bind, parentheses, and in the parentheses you are going to type this. Okay, so bind this, and right now this means that inside of the function you will be able to use this. You do not need to use root, but you can use this. So I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, and right now it is going to be working, and we are not going to have any error in the console. But if I get rid of this bind and I will hit Ctrl Enter, it's not going to be working and we are going to have error. So there are basically two ways. You can use bind this, and in that case you can use this inside, or you can create variable like so and just use name of the variable in here. That's up to you. Okay, fine. Right now what I want to do is I'm going to provide this code in the description, and also I'm going to provide my animate file in the description. And right now I would like to create a new animate document because I want to show you some other stuff and I do not want to mix it in this code. I could, but I don't want to make this too much code in the one place. So I am going to hit Ctrl N to create new document, and I will go with 800 by 800, and there's absolutely no reason why I'm doing this. I just like it. You want to have HTML5 canvas, and I will hit create. Very quickly I will save this because then I will forget. So like this, I can call it part 2, save, and again I want to click on my stage and change the color slightly so it is not going to be white when I hit Ctrl Enter like so. Okay, so again I'm going to get oval tool, or you can go with rectangle, it's up to you, and I can go with maybe red color. So I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to convert this to the symbol, so modify, convert to symbol. You can leave this to be symbol 1, it's okay, because that's just name for the library. But what is important is click on the shape and on the instance name, choose the name. And I can go with red 1, for example. These names are up to you, it should be descriptive, but yeah. So something like this. And I can rename the layer to be shapes. So I will create new layer, and I am going to go to actions, and I am going to type this red 1 x is going to be equal to 0, and I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, and right now my shape is going to be on the x on the 0, and it's like the anchor point which is in the middle is going to be on the on the 0. And what I can do, I will hit Ctrl D to duplicate this, and I will change this to Y. So right now my X and also my Y is going to be on the 0. I will hit Ctrl Enter, and it is going to be in here. What I can do is close this. I can click on the shape, and you can see in here that the anchor point, this middle, is in the center. I can go to the pre-transform tool, shortcut is Q, and right now if I go over the anchor point, my mouse is going to change. You can see that I have this little dot around my mouse, and I can drag my anchor point in here, for example, which means that right now this place is going to be on the 0, 0. And if I hit Ctrl Enter, you can see that my shape is going to be in here. Okay? But if I put this back to the center and I will hit Ctrl Enter, it is going to be in there. Okay? I can hit F9 or right click and go to the actions to go back. And I can, for example, set this to be 800 by 800, which is going to position me this on the other side in here. Okay? Or what you can do is put 800 by 800 is our stage, so I can go divide it by 2 and divide it by 2, and it is going to put me this in the center. Okay? Again, there is an option to do this like so, or you can create some event listener, and by clicking you can position your object. So very quickly I'm going to type this red1 add event listener parentheses. I want to have a click. Later on I will show you mouse over and double click, and with the mouse over there is one additional line that you have to do. So mouse over is not going to work just like that, but that's in a few minutes. So red1 add event listener click, and right now the name of the function, so I can just call this to be move red, for example, and semicolon. And now I'm going to type function move red parentheses curly parentheses, and I'm going to comment this, and I'm going to type in here root. I will have to create a variable for the root. Red1 x is going to be 0, Control D, and the y is also going to be 0. And what I have to do is create let root is going to be equal to this. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control Enter, and if I didn't misspell anything, if I click on the shape, it is going to be positioned at the 0, 0. Okay, you can do something like this, and no matter where your shape is going to be positioned, it can be positioned in here, anywhere. If I click on the shape, it will go in here. Okay, but there is one thing that you can do, and you can type something like plus equal, and plus equal I am going to do on both of them, and I am going to type for example 40. Okay, and it means that if the shape is going to be, for example, on this position, and I will click on the shape, it is not going to go on the 40, 40, which would be somewhere here, but it will move 40 to the X and 40 to the Y. So I will show you, Control Enter, and if I click, it is going to move by 40 pixels. And funny thing about this, that if I click one more time, again it is going to move 40 pixels. Okay, so very quickly, maybe I will try to explain this. So I will get rid of this plus for the second, and if I hit Control Enter, as expected, this is going to just go to the 40 and nothing else is going to happen. And basically if I create plus equal, it means, or it is the same as if I would write root red1x is equal to root red1x plus 40. And the same thing in here, root red1y is equal to root red1y plus 40. Okay, and this is pretty complicated, but I am going to hit Ctrl Enter, and it is going to be working. So red x is equal to itself plus 40, and then it's like the x has changed, and if I click one more time, again plus 40. But the shorter way how to write this is just type plus equal, and the same thing in here, plus equal. Okay, Control Enter, and indeed it is going to be working, and I'm going to close this. You can type a number like this, or what you can do, for example, is create a variable for this. So I'm going to type let, and I can type speed, even though this is not speed, but some kind of variable, and I'm going to say that it is 60. And what I can do right now is to get rid of this 40 and put my variable in here. So right now it is going to be 60, and this is also going to be 60. And I'm going to hit Ctrl Enter, and it is going to be moving by 60. And I can do in here speed times 3, for example, Ctrl Enter, and it is going to move like so, and it will then disappear. So you can do this as you want. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to close this, and I will create a new layer, even though I do not need to. I will go to the actions, and I just want to show you very briefly that you can click on the shape. There is possibility that if you click on the shape this is going to close. In that case, just open it one more time. But you can click to the code snippet. It is these arrows in here, and now you have an option to go either with ActionScript or HTML5. So we want HTML5, and there are some pre-made codes in here. For example, you can go to the actions, and in here we have an option click to go to the web page. So if I double click on this one, this is going to give me some code. This is commented out, so there are just some instructions. And in here we have this, which is this red one. This is the name that we created. If we wouldn't create this instance name, Animate would create it for itself, but here would be some strange name. Even listener, click, name of the function. This name is arbitrary, but Animate created some kind of name. The name then it is in here because here is the function, and we have in here something like window.open and some URL. You can change this URL to anything, but if I hit Ctrl Enter, this would open me Adobe website. Okay, and I didn't have to create new layer because it is automatically going to put these actions to the new layer. But there is something like this, and right now we have one code in here which is R, and then one which is created by Adobe Animate. And what I would do in this case is that I would cut this, so Ctrl X. We do not have to have this, and I would go to my code in here, and I would just paste it in here, because it can be a little bit, there can be some issues if you are going to have two codes in here. Okay, and if I close this like so, this code should be empty. Actions, there is nothing, so you can get rid of these actions like so, and you are going to have if I hit F9 or if I right click and choose actions, we are going to have our code in here and then this code from the Adobe Animate, from the code snippet. Okay, let me close this, and one more time, we can even be on this code, because if I click on the shape, it is going to highlight the shape, and I can go to the code snippet, and there are some other options. For example, click to hide an object. So if I double click, there is going to be even listener, click, the name of the function, and you can see that in here this is this bind method, and here is just this red one, visible is false. So if I hit Ctrl Enter, I will click, this is going to disappear. Okay, I can get rid of this, and there are other stuff. Show object, click to position an object, so I can double click on this one, and I will have to select the shape that I want to use, like so. Click to position an object, and right now we are going to have again even listener with bind this, and then we have this red one X, and there is some position. Okay, so the same thing that we did before. Then we have, for example, in the animation option to animate horizontally or animate vertically. So if I click on the animate horizontally, for example, there is going to be even listener, there is going to be tick, which is something which check the stage. I guess I don't know how to explain this properly, but right now we have this red one X is plus equal 10, and if I hit Ctrl Enter, this is going to animate this. Okay, so, and you can adjust this code, so this is going to be animating when we click or something like that, but that would be a little bit more advanced. I just wanted to show you that there is some kind of code snippet. It can be, if you are a really beginner, it can be sometimes difficult to work with them, because there is just very basic code in here, but you can play with this. Maybe I can in the next tutorial talk a little bit more about this, and I have some tutorials about this on my channel, but those are a little bit older one. But yeah, there is something like this, and I am going to close this. Okay, I will get rid of these empty layers. I will go back to my code. Okay, and right now we have this code where we have even listener, click, and if I click on the shape, it is going to be moving like so. Okay, and I want to show you that there is an option to change this to double click. So it is double click, Ctrl Enter, and if I click, nothing is going to happen. I will have to double click, and so on. So it would work. But if I am going to change this to mouse over, and I am going to hit Ctrl Enter, nothing is going to happen. And the thing is that if you want to use mouse over, there is one additional line of code that you will have to write, and it goes like this: stage.enable mouse over, and parentheses. Okay, hopefully I didn't misspell this, enable mouse over, and if I hit Ctrl Enter, it is going to be working like so. Okay, so this code I am going to provide in the description. I will change this to click, but you can change this to my mouse over. I'm going to leave this in here, and this is probably going to be enough for the first lesson, because I know that we people can very quickly lose attention, and this tutorial is already very long. So I would finish in here, and there is many more stuff that we can learn in the JavaScript in Adobe Animate. There are loops, there are arrays, there are if-else statements, and so on. So I am definitely going to create part 2, and then later on maybe some advanced games. The games are going to be very simple, but the JavaScript is going to be a little bit more advanced. But yeah, if you like this video, hit a like. If you are interested in more videos like this, consider to subscribe. If you watch till the end, let me know in the comment. It would really motivate me to do this more. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial, and part 2 is going to be hopefully very soon. So goodbye. Thank you.